Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Kevin and Avonte Program, Reducing Injury and Death of Missing Individuals with Dementia and Developmental Disabilities, hosted by the Bureau of Justice Assistance. This time, I'd like to introduce today's presenter, Christy Brackens, Senior Policy Advisor with the Bureau of Justice Assistance. Christy.
Thank you, Daryl, and good afternoon, everyone. Again, I'm Christy Brackens. I'm a Senior Policy Advisor with the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and I oversee the Kevin and Avonte program here at BJA. So I'm real excited to spend the next couple of moments talking to you all about the Kevin and Avonte program funding opportunity that is currently available for you all to apply to. So I'm going to provide you an overview of the program. We're going to go over the two solicitation categories. There are two funding categories that we have in the Kevin and Avonte program. The application review criteria, I'll talk a little bit about that process, what that looks like, and the things that you want to be sure to pay special attention to in your application. Then we'll spend a little bit of time reviewing some of the different resources that are available out there to assist grant applicants. And then we'll save about 15 minutes or more at the end, depending on how this goes and technology goes. I've been having a little bit of technology difficulties this morning, so we're going to pray that the technology gods allow this to work for the next hour for questions. So with that, so the Kevin and Avonte program, just a general overview of the program. It's one of our programs that really looks at helping families locate their loved ones who may suffer from Alzheimer's disease or autism or any sort of related conditions that are prone to wandering. I think you all might have seen in the news recently, I want to say it was in Mobile, Alabama, the other day, that a 4-year-old little boy went missing and tragedy struck, and he was found in a body of water there. And so when I think about that little boy and I think about the two boys that this program, Kevin and Avonte, is named after, it really speaks to the need for this sort of program. And so, you know, these sorts of incidents, they occur all too often. And so there was legislation that was passed to support the Kevin and Avonte program to reduce the risk of injury or death for individuals with dementia or developmental disabilities. So we provide funding to law enforcement agencies and public safety agencies to implement technologies that help in the tracking of these individuals. But we also want to do some work around proactive programming, how to prevent these things from happening in the beginning and increase safety. So that's pretty much an overview of the program. I spoke briefly about the two boys that the program is named for. And so if we look at the program history, just a little bit about the history of the program, the legislation I referenced before was enacted in 2018. And it was to honor the two boys that perished due to wandering. So we have 9-year-old Kevin Curtis Wills, who wandered from home and slipped into Iowa's Raccoon River and drowned in 2008. And then we have 14-year-old Avonte Kwanda, who wandered away from his school in New York and was found in the East River in 2014. And so the program is really due to these two boys in situations that occur as a result of wandering. So we have, as I mentioned, we have two categories of funding that you're able to apply for under the Kevin and Avonte program. We have a proactive program category 1. And this is really to help with the design and implementation of proactive programs. You know, we've done some work with our current grantees. We have 14 active sites. Actually, I take that back. I have about 28 active sites. But we've done work with our active sites around proactive programming. And one of the things that they tend to stress to us that there are lots of things that can be done before an individual that's prone to wandering goes missing. And so we really want to be able to continue to support those types of programs that aim at prevention and aim at education. So we anticipate making 7 awards under the proactive programs category for a 2-year project period and the awards under this category will be up to $150,000. We look at the eligibility criteria for the Kevin and Avonte Category 1 funds. Healthcare agencies are eligible. Nonprofit agencies with a 501c3 status are eligible. We will be giving priority to or preference to applications from nonprofit organizations that have experience working in this space. You want to be sure if you do have that experience and you've worked with this population of folks that is indicated in your application, particularly in the capabilities and competencies section of the application. But nonprofit organizations that have experience working with this population on this particular topic will be given preference in the process. And then, of course, state or local law enforcement or tribal law enforcement and other public safety agencies are also eligible for the Category 1 proactive programs funding. I talked a little bit about the purpose. Some of the things that we want to do is to increase public awareness of persons that are missing. We want to provide prevention and response information. We also want to be able to, work on education training, whether that be training of caregivers, training of local law enforcement, training of school personnel, or even training, public education campaigns aimed at training the public so that they may be able to help identify and assist when they spot, or if they're out and spot an individual who looks as though they may be lost. We also want to look at things that work at establishing the partnerships between law enforcement and the communities they serve. So how do you get the word out there? How do we work to improve police and community relations, specifically with this population of folks as well? Additional things that we hope to do under the proactive programs is look at some of the protocols that our first responders have, look at some of the protocols that are there in schools that work with this population of kids, or even assisted living facilities that work with, the older population who may be suffering from dementia. And, what is the training in place for those staff? What are the protocols that are currently in place for those staff? How can we improve upon those? And where they're not, how can we work with these entities to develop those protocols? And then the notification alert system. There are some jurisdictions that do not have a notification alert system when it comes to recovering missing individuals with dementia or developmental disabilities. So we want to work with folks to develop those and operate those. And if you have one in place, how can we work with you to enhance it? So these are just some examples of things that we hope to do under the proactive programs category. Located technology is the second category of funding that you can apply for. I tend to see, as I manage this program, I tend to see a lot of law enforcement agencies apply under the located technology category. But basically, these funds are for just that. They're used to purchase, develop, or implement a location-based program that helps us to more quickly recover individuals that have gone wandering. In years past, folks have used this funding to purchase the unmanned aircraft, commonly referred to as drones. Funds can no longer be used to purchase drones at this time, but there are so many other things that aid in locating individuals that have gone missing that I don't think you'll have trouble developing a program in support of this category. Similar to the Category 1 funding, the awards will be up to $150,000. Again, it's a 2-year project period, and we anticipate making 7 awards under this category as well. Eligible entities are similar in that they're healthcare agencies, state, local, tribal law enforcement, and public safety agencies, and then American tribal governments that perform public safety activities. You will see that for the located technology category that nonprofit organizations are not eligible to apply. under Category 2, but they are eligible to apply under Category 1. So I talked about the healthcare agency, the establishment of these partnerships when it comes to getting this located technology. And so as a part of this program with law enforcement, we encourage you, rather, to partner with your healthcare agencies, with your local school districts, to really get this located technology in the hands of the people that will most benefit from it. And so as you think of your proposals that you would write in response to this category of funding, you want to also make sure that you have letters of support and MOUs in place with those agencies that you would partner with to develop this kind of located technology framework. Another part, one of the things that we were tasked to do as a part of the congressional funding that supports the Kevin and Avonte program was to develop standards and best practices when it comes to the use of non-invasive or non-permanent tracking devices. And so for folks that are awarded grant funding, we ask that you participate in helping us to develop those standards. And so you'll be tasked with, participating in working group meetings, things of that nature. We held a working group meeting this past, April? I want to say it was April of last year around this particular topic, and talking to our grantees about the things that they were currently doing as far as practices when it comes to located technology, and even some of the proactive programming. And so that's an ongoing project within BJA, within the Office of Justice Programs. And so we would ask that you be prepared to participate in that as well. Another area that I wanted to just really lift up for you all, so the funding solicitation is currently available for this. You can find it, bja.gov, under our funding opportunities for the Kevin and Avonte program. The things that I just talked about as far as the categories, the goals, the objectives, the different deliverables, those things are all spelled out in the application. And I find that folks that apply for funding, they're usually pretty good at making sure that paying very closely at the first 7 pages of the application. But then you get into some of the legalese and some of the writing that you probably thinking to yourself, this isn't all grant applications. And some of it is, of course, language that goes in all of our solicitations for funding. But what I think is a real tool for folks that I find that folks don't always pay as close attention to as I think they should is the criteria that we use to score your applications. And so I wanted to just point this out to you all, that if you go, when you're looking at the funding opportunity that's out there for the Kevin and Avonte program, look at the application criteria and review that, and look at the weight that is given to specific areas. So when we look at the description of the issue, that's 15% of your application. The project design and implementation is 40% of your application. Applications for funding for this program, it's a discretionary program, so the applications will be peer reviewed by outside peer reviewers, and they will be scored and they will be ranked, and decisions about funding will be made based on how well you meet with the application criteria. And so when you look at the different sections, I encourage you to pay close attention to the design of your project. One of the things that is a little bit different, if you've applied for this funding in the past, one of the things that's a little bit different this year as compared to previous years, based on a large part on the focus group discussions that we've had with previous grantees, is that each category in their project design this year will be asked to describe how you will increase public knowledge and awareness on proactive strategies that reduce wandering and or aid in successful recovery. So whether you're applying for Category 1 or Category 2, you'll be tasked to do that as a part of your project description. Something else that might be a little bit different that you may not be used to seeing from previous years is also looking at solutions that are less restrictive and less intrusive when it comes to working with this population that is prone to wandering. And so, you know, with the located technology funding, what are some less restrictive means? What are some less intrusive means? We're looking for, you know, projects that do that. That's some of the feedback that we've gotten in the past. We want to looking at projects that really also support families. You know, some of the feedback we've received in the past in these working group sessions is that we don't have projects that actually support the caregivers of some of these individuals. And so as you think through your project design, think of some of those unique things that might make the work that you're doing there kind of stand out and speak to some of the emerging issues that are happening around this population in the field. So project design, 40%, capabilities and competencies. This is really where we're looking at the staff and the resumes of the staff, the people that you're going to bring on board to fulfill the goals of this project. And so I would encourage you to think very closely about that, you know, include resumes, to demonstrate your experience in working with this in this subject area. I would encourage you to include examples of previous projects you've worked on or things in that nature, things of this nature. So that's a good 25% as well. A huge percentage of your application is your capabilities and competencies. And then data collection, performance measurement, and budget are both 10%. If you've applied for funding recently, last year, you know that we've moved to the Just Grant system. There are 2 application deadlines. It's a 2-step process. And so step 1 of the process, and if you don't remember anything, let me say this. If you don't remember anything that I said today, remember this. The application process is 2 steps. Step 1, you submit an SF-424 and SFLLL in grants.gov. The deadline is May 19th, 8:59 p.m., 8:59 p.m. In previous years, we've had solicitations closing at 11:59 p.m., and so people think I have till midnight. You don't have till midnight. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the deadline. So that's step 1. Submit your SF-424, SFLLL by May 19th, 8:59 p.m. Step 2 is where you'll submit your full application with the attachments, and that deadline is May 24th at 8:59 p.m. This is very important because last year was the first time that we had applications being submitted in Just Grants, and we had folks that didn't understand that there were 2 deadlines, and they missed step 1 and were not able to apply for funding because they had missed the first step, or they completed step 1 and didn't realize that they needed to complete step 2. So if there's one takeaway from this conversation, it is that there are 2 application deadlines that you want to pay close attention to. At BJA, we have lots of resources available for grant applicants. So, of course, you have grants.gov. They provide technical assistance with submitting the SF-424 and SFLLL. Remember, that's what you'll need to submit by May 19th, 8:59 p.m. They operate, their customer service is available to you 24 hours a day. Grants.gov is also where you can find other funding opportunities. In addition to the Kevin and Avonte funding, this is the grant making season at OJP and across other federal agencies. And so I would also encourage you to look at, you know, other grant opportunities that are out there as well. Just grants is where you'll submit your actual full application in response to the Kevin and Avonte solicitation. And so, you know, they can provide any technical assistance as relates to submitting your full application into the Just Grant system. And their hours are listed here, pretty standard, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time, Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 5 p.m. So I would encourage you not to wait until May 19th, not to wait until May 24th to submit your applications. I would encourage you to do that as much far in advance as possible. Then when it comes to questions that you may have about the solicitation itself, you can reach out to the OJP Response Center. There's web chat available, there's email, toll-free number you can call. If you have any questions, the Response Center is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And so as you're going through the funding solicitation, if there are questions you have, this is who you would reach out to in regards to those questions specific to the funding opportunity, not about how you enter it into Just Grants, not about how you file the SF-424, but questions specific to the funding solicitation. You would use the OJP Response Center. Other resources for grant applicants, of course, the OJP Funding Resource Center, DOJ Grants Guide, DOJ Grants Financial Management Online Training. One of the things that I would lift up for you all's consideration is that, you know, the first step in some ways is applying for the grant. The second step is getting the grant. The third step is managing the grant once you received it. And the online financial grants management training is a great resource for folks, and I would encourage you, if you've never completed the grants online financial management training, to complete that training, because, you know, in some ways getting the grant is the easy part. Managing the grant after you receive it sometimes can be a lot harder when it comes to reporting requirements, accepting your award, special conditions, things of that nature. I would really encourage you to take advantage of the online training. And then, of course, we have just different, the OJP Grant Application Resource Guide also contains a wealth of information. There are many ways that you can stay connected to us here at OJP. And so you can, you know, text OJP your email address. You can go on Facebook, Twitter. A lot of our funding opportunities are posted on Facebook and Twitter. In addition to funding opportunities, you'll often see training and technical assistance opportunities. Other things you might see are, you know, success stories or interest stories, stories of interest that are happening in different in different sites, in different projects that we manage. And then, of course, the BJA website. So here's just another quick reference for important contacts, solicitation content assistance, grants.gov, and just grants. And something, as I'm talking to you all, something that is not up here, and I'll put it, let me see if I can put it in the chat box for you, is the Kevin and Avonte program has its umbrella called Home Safe, right? It's funded on, Home Safe is what we call the Kevin and Avonte program. And we actually have IACP is the current TTA provider for the Home Safe for the Kevin and Avonte Home Safe program. And there's a website that we've developed for the Kevin and Avonte program under IACP Home Safe. So I'm going to put the link to that in the chat here for you all. And so this just might also, you know, give you some ideas, more ideas about the program. As you go through the website, there's a listing of grantee sites, so you can see where we're currently working, the type of projects that we're currently working on in those sites. It gives you, as you click on the site information, you can find information about the types of projects that we funded in FY19 and FY20 to to give you a little bit of insight into the stuff that we're working on as it relates to the Kevin and Avonte program. There's also information on the different types of training and technical assistance that can be provided under the Kevin and Avonte program. There's a resource library that has information that you can search as it relates to reducing injury and death of missing individuals with dementia, excuse me, and developmental disabilities. So I would encourage you to take a look at the Home Safe website as well. So with that, I'm trying hard to paste and not having luck. 1 second, let's see.
Okay, thanks for that, Christy. I'll give you a moment as you do that. And I'll just remind everybody on the call today that the PowerPoint recording and transcript will be posted to the BJ website. So if there's something here you want to go back on and look at and reference, that will be available approximately 7 to 10 business days.
So I just posted the link to the Kevin and Avonte Home Safe website. So again, I encourage you all to visit the website, take a look at it, look at the type of projects that we funded in the past. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
So the first one coming in, if a law enforcement agency is applying for Category 2, would an entity like the Department of Children and Families qualify as an eligible partner?
Yes.
Are there any limitations for the territories in applying?
No.
If you do not have a position filled, how would you share a resume? Would a job description work for this purpose?
Yes. You would want to use the grant funds to support a position, then yes, then a job description would be. I would encourage you to submit a job description.
Can a detailed letter of support outlining a partner's duties and responsibilities be submitted in lieu of an MOU? For a lot of agencies, particularly this one, MOU takes months to execute.
Yes, letters of support or MOUs are fine. Letter of support would be just fine.
Okay, thanks everybody for those questions. If you do have one, in the bottom right side of your screen, just hit the 3 dots, select Q&A, and then send it to all panelists. Happy to go through those. While we wait a couple more moments, I'll just put up this quick reference, important contacts for you to reference if you do have questions about the solicitation itself, OJP Response Center, grants.gov, or just grants here.
And I also added, I'm sure you all have seen it, but I also added to the chat a link to the Kevin and Avonte funding opportunity on the BJA website.
Christy, can one agency apply for grants in both Category 1 and 2?
Yes, but it'd be two separate applications.
And then is this currently open, or would you expect when this will be open for application?
It is currently open. It's posted right now on the BJA website. It opened on April 1st.
Great. And the slide I put up here is those deadlines for both just grants and grants.gov here. Again, if you want to stay connected, here's some links that Christy mentioned earlier, the BJ's website, their social, and also the email updates. Text to subscribe is available.
So either I did a really good job and you all don't have any questions, or you all are just a quiet group.
One did come in. Is there an quote-unquote old style budget detail worksheet that we can use to prepare for entering our budgets?
There should be one in the OJP application resources link.
This particular person is with a state agency that trains law enforcement on IDD, but they're not considered law enforcement. We have to apply with a nonprofit in this instance.
Yes, for the training, yes, you would still be able to apply. Well, I don't want to hold folks, but I will stay on here until 1:45. Is that good, Daryl? In case anyone wants to ask any more questions. If not, I really appreciate everyone's logging in today to hear about this program. I think it's a great program that we fund here, and it's a program that's really making a difference. I can tell you that in the 2 years that I've been working on the program, I've received feedback from departments that have used the located technology to actually aid in a successful recovery and faster recovery of individuals that have gone missing. And for me, if we can at least save one life, this program is a success. And I can tell you we've done that on more than one occasion. So I appreciate your interest in the program, and I look forward to reviewing your application.
So another couple questions have come in. Can funds be used for employee salary for these programs?
So, I mean, I would say yes, funds can be used for employee salary. You know, it will all be a part of your budget. We understand that, you know, you have to have someone run a program. The grant is only $150,000. And so I would caution against, you know, using the bulk of the grant funding for this program for salary, but yes, funds could be used to support that.
Can sites currently funded under previous years of this award apply again? Or are there restrictions on when? So.
No, there aren't restrictions. I would think that if you were currently funded or previously funded, then you would want to demonstrate in your application how this additional funding will help you enhance the work that you were previously funded to do.
Yeah, that seems to be the end of the questions currently at this time, Christy.
Okay, so if you tell me to end it, we can end it, Daryl. Thank you, everyone, again, so much. I appreciate everyone's attention today, and like I said before, I look forward to reviewing your applications. So thank you.
Actually,
Goodbye.
one more did come in through the chat here really quickly. As a law enforcement agency within a city, would you partner internally with the city, for example, a senior center or after school programs to fulfill the partnership expectations?
I would say yes, you can partner within the city. You know, it's like your example here, a senior center, you know, part of the funding is to reduce injury and among adults that have dementia. And so I could definitely see partnering with a senior center and after school programs. I guess it would depend on the sort of after school program. If it's, you know, a program geared toward kids with developmental disabilities that are prone to wandering, then yes, I would say yes.
And when will the awards be made approximately?
So all awards will be made by September 30th of this year. We're mandated to have all of our awards out the door by the start of the fiscal year. The project period start date is October 1 for these awards, and so September 30th at the very latest.
And then the winners be notified at any particular point in time around that date? Prior,
yes. So those that are successful will be notified. I can't tell you exactly when, unfortunately. I wish I could. I can tell you that it'll be by September 30th. I mean, the award decisions, the process, you know, once the award closes, we'll work with the peer reviewers to start reviewing the applications. Once we get the applications, the peer review comments back, and decisions are made as far as who we would like to fund, it's probably like late summer, early fall. And so that's why, you know, September 30th, I can tell you that anyone that is selected will definitely be notified by September 30th, possibly sooner, but by September 30th.
if there's a senior center already a functioning part of the city, can that be used as a partnership, or would one have to go outside of the city to partner with another entity?
No, there's no need to go outside of your city to partner. They can be considered a partnership.
Okay, that seems to be the end of the questions at this time.
Great. So thank you again, everyone. And I mean, if you have questions, you know, Daryl put the quick reference information here, but if there are other questions as you start to write your application that you need assistance with as far as the solicitation content, please reach out.
Okay, so on behalf of the Bureau of Justice Assistants and our panelists, we want to thank you for joining today's webinar. This will end today's presentation.
Thank you.